Yeah, come in,
Please
girls. She's gonna sit down. Yes. There.
Come in
yes.
and just sit nice. Here we are. This is Soleil. Welcome, Soleil.
Gracias.
Okay, we are live. Okay, so now because Soleil is questy, I've changed my avatar for the day because she can't see my usual avatar. And she's probably looking as seen naked. That's another thing I forgot to tell you.
Sex scene. Excuse me.
Only naked. It's only
I love it.
sexy
I'm happy
scene.
with it.
Okay, remember.
Actually, she's in kind of like she's in
It's
like an
just
animal.
because
I'm sexy.
She's
oh,
in
you
an
haven't
animal-
turned on her avatar. That's what it is.
Let me do
Sexy.
that.
You haven't turned on her avatar, and you'll see what I mean. It's just in her quest avatar, she's naked.
Maybe
Ooh,
no,
naughty
because
girl.
I've got an animation. Don't
Yeah,
don't turn
you
it
have a
on.
pretty. You have a gun in your hand though.
Yeah, no, turn it off. Turn it off. It's okay. You can imagine me.
Okay,
Because
I like
you'll
this
be-
avatar though. It's a beautiful.
Yeah, she designed the tattoos herself.
It's beautiful.
We've got Trek. He says he can hear us pretty good, so that's good. It's good to know that at least the stream is going well. All right, so everybody, this is Soleil. She's going to be telling us a little bit about herself. Introduce yourself and tell us, what sort of things you like to talk about.
Beautiful. Thank you for having me. It feels like such an honor to be here with you both and such experienced VR friends that I get to make and learn from. So thank you for having me. I am a licensed clinical social worker and a sex therapist and a sex worker. And I really celebrate sexuality and expression and identity and finding all the ways that we can fight shame, we can seek more expression, we can find ways to help ourselves and others be our fullest, most expansive, sexy weirdos as possible. And I do that in a lot of different methods, using BDSM, using erotic coaching, as well as in actual clinical sex therapy. I lead sex parties and workshops and teach events all about different ways that we can be in our bodies and in our pleasure and be in every kind of fantasy you could ever imagine in ethical and consensual and really healing and supportive ways. So I like any and all of the things sexuality related, and I'm excited to talk to you too about it.
Excellent. Oh, that's very good. Welcome to the show. Anybody in the chat who would like to ask a question with Soleil, just type it and I'm able to actually see it now. I figured out how to do it.
Cool.
Okay, I think today we should talk a little bit about sexuality, what it means to you in particular, because sexuality is such a term that can mean such a varied thing to everybody. It depends where you come from, your culture, even your sexual orientation. Sexuality can mean an awful lot of different things to everybody. So what does it mean to you?
Yeah, so when I use the word sexuality, I really think of it as the fullest expansion of all of the parts of yourself. So I joke around that I'm always engaging sexually with everyone I meet. I'm at the grocery store and it's still an erotic energy that's always in me, whether that's actually expressing something in a sexual way, be it a fantasy or a desire or a type of touch, or if it's just I'm engaging with my fullest embodied self. I'm noticing my sensations, I'm noticing my own pleasure in the moment, when I'm holding some fruit or talking to a person that I like, the way they look at me with their eyes, that I can have oh, this is an energy, it's a connection. So I see sex as more broad than it is not one specific act, but it is the fullest expansion and expression of all the parts of our erotic and sensual selves.
Okay, so let me see if I can understand correctly. To you, sexuality means something quite physical. It is actually a very physical thing. Because for some people, sexuality can mean a bit of an abstract concept. It just means as if you're saying, oh, my sexuality, I'm just a heterosexual or I'm bisexual, or, it could be a label kind of thing. But to you, sexuality means physical as well. It's a whole bunch of things encased into one word. Is that correct?
Yeah, both physical, but also energetic, and also spiritual, and also psychological and emotional. So it's all the parts of ourselves. Partially why I think sex in VR and sexuality in VR is so amazing, because we can suddenly tap into all the parts that sometimes people have a hard time being in their fullest self, but when they can tap into a fantasy space, all of these new openings are created in sexuality. So much bigger than the physical, but more of an entirety of your being. But people have a hard time getting there. It's very few people, I would say, are fully sexually awakened or embodied in a way that they could be.
Yeah, that's very true. I would agree with that. So can I just ask you a little bit more to elaborate on, you said sexuality and you also said spiritual. How can the two words kind of correlate to each other?
Yeah, I mean, I think for a lot of people, the deepest sexual experiences they have are often spiritual ones, where they feel a really intense connection with another person, which is a spiritual connection. It's the when I think of spirituality, I think of it as bigger than a certain religion, but it is the meaning making of our life. It is you're important to me and I see you, and in connection with you, we have belonging and experiential versions of ourselves that get to it's the alchemy between people and the alchemy between energy, or whether that's in nature or that's in another human experience. It is this interconnection that then creates something new. It creates this new feeling, new way of being in our bodies, new way of experiencing, feeling seen, feeling important, feeling wanted. I see this a lot in BDSM and kink spaces, where when someone finally finds a role they really feel like aligns with them, like, oh man, I just always wanted to be a submissive, is an example. And I never knew that until I was tied down and someone was doing things to me. And then I was like, whoa, I really like being able to let go in this, and often find an altered state of being. They find other ways of being in themselves when they're in expansive sexual spaces, which is very spiritual for people.
Okay, because usually, correct me if I'm wrong, or what do you think, Cynthia? Spirituality usually tends to sort of have connotations of religion or the spirit, which is a sort of religious thing. Will I be correct in saying that maybe that could be also energy instead of spirit? I mean, I know that some people would refer to it as spiritual, like, oh, I've had a spiritual awakening.
Mm-hmm.
But energy could also be used, for people that don't want the connotation or the reference to be used as like, oh no, that cannot possibly be spiritual because spiritual is just, just for religion, for God. I'm not religious, I'm actually agnostic. But I'm just talking, for people that might be watching. It doesn't mean that it's a religious thing, the sex and religion, it's, intertwined. It's more about energy. About the essence of who we are. I'm not saying that spiritual is the wrong way of putting it at all. It is the way you like to look at it, because to you it feels spiritual. It does. It doesn't mean it has to feel like that for everybody. But energy is another way of describing it. If you really don't want to sort of have that sort of description on it, the energy of who we really are, outside of our bodies. I think that's actually very interesting, the fact that you find sex can be spiritual. I agree with that sentiment. I think it is. It can be. Yeah. And I think our upbringings and sometimes our cultures, we can be reprimanded or even made to feel ashamed to have sexual urges or to find pleasure in sex, and not just physical, but as you say, spiritual, emotional. It's important to do that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Thanks for saying it that way. Yeah, energy is a great way to redescribe it.
Yeah.
And I really like the idea of every encounter with every human is an energy exchange, and so we choose to engage in it meaningfully or not. But every encounter with a human is energy moving.
It is. I agree that energy, at the end of the day, it's what we are all made of, and that's what we're going to end up being after we leave this earth, or this. How would you like to? How do you say it? Remember, English is my second language, so sometimes I get stuck in the semantics of how to say things. But yeah, basically, I believe that when you leave this earth with this, you leave this physical or the flesh avatar that we are born with, we turn into energy and we go back to the big energy pool. And some people believe in reincarnation, some people don't. Sometimes believe that they move on to something else, to a different plane. We all have different beliefs. What's the truth? Who knows?
I have a question. So, in your therapy,
Oh, here we go. Child.
how many girls do they come to you and say, hey, I've got sex problems, help me out? And how many guys, percentage?
I think it's pretty balanced, but it's very different concerns. So and I also talk about folks who are genderqueer and trans and lots of other genders. So I try to stay out of the binary thinking, but folks who are often genderqueer, trans, queer, femmes, women tend to have more difficulties with healing from trauma when there's been sexual harm that they've experienced, and getting connected to their own pleasure. And there's a lot of times folks who hold those identities more feminine of the spectrum have tended to be in more service roles. Like the sex was about pleasing a partner, sex was about serving, sex was about learning to be the sexual object that was needed by the heteronormative patriarchal systems sometimes that we encounter. Whereas, so that they're healing those kind of wounds and learning, oh, what do I really like? And what does it mean to center my pleasure? There's tons of research that supports that femmes tend to come way more often with other femmes, with other queers, that they have a really high, that there's like a 80% less likelihood of them having a climax with a male partner, because of the lots of reasons we could talk about. So part of it is then learning about who am I and what do I really like and how do I experience it outside of the structure of my relationship or within the context of my relationship, and teaching my male partner how to do better. Whereas oftentimes, the other thing that women often struggle with is genital pain and problems with vaginismus and other genital pain that isn't getting treated by our medical system. So we deal with that a lot as well. And then more cis men or folks that were born male tend to struggle more with a lot of it's shame, a lot of it's concerns around, am I okay? Am I able to perform in the way that I think I'm supposed to perform? A lot of like managing expectations, because they're put in kind of, the patriarchy puts them in a similar place where they have to then perform in a certain way to be masculine, if they are not always in the dominant role, if they're not always have an erect penis, if they're not coming when they want to come, that there's a problem for them, that they think there's a problem. And so for everyone, I really work on redefining what sex is, that it's much broader than, hard penis in a vagina. It's much more complex, and it's less about the act and way more about that energy, that connection. And that's kind of the key to getting out of the shame, getting out of the expectation, and getting out of the performance-centric kind of culture we have around sex.
Wow, how interesting. Yes, definitely. Now with the operations, medical surgery and things, well, we are modifying our bodies. But I have another question. Hope you don't get banned. Okay. Let's see.
Yeah, what can I not talk about?
She's trouble.
Yeah, come on. I mean, I know everybody wants to ask, but no one is, and the funny thing is that we can do it here in VR. I might not do it in real person, but okay. So let me get this right.
Please do.
How, with a transgender, someone that changes physically through operation, through surgery, where's the G-spot, in short?
Yeah. So two things. One thing, lots of folks who are genderqueer, who are trans, don't ever have a surgical transition. Lots of folks are genderqueer but may stay in the body they are currently in, but may relate to it differently, may change because gender is a social construct. Gender is a social idea about how we relate to people more than it is about the biological sex. But for those who do decide to actually go through a surgical transition, the G-spot can stay the same if there's somebody who is trying to, if they originally had a vagina and they're adding hormones and tissue that will look more like a penis, they can actually maintain their G-spot. So they're not actually removing the clitoris. The G-spot is actually kind of the back. It is a spot. lots of stories around what the G-spot is, but it is often easily to be reached in kind of the roof of the vulva. If you imagine going like this with your, I can't really do it with my fingers, kind of a come hither motion with your fingers, two fingers out and kind of coming towards someone. That's it. That's kind of the G-spot positioning when someone's laying on their back, so that they'll be able to, if they still have an opening, they'll still be able to access their G-spot, even if they're then adding tissue that will look more like a penis. But every surgical procedure is a little bit different. There's lots of different options for what it would look like. So then I think the more important thing to say is that it's less about the G-spot and more about every person that's going through a different relationship to their gender is going to want to relate to their body differently too. And so oftentimes folks who are experiencing hormone therapy and who are changing their relationship to their body might enjoy different kinds of touch. So one of my trans friends talks often about how she suddenly had like intense sensation on the back of her neck that she hadn't had before after hormones. Her body was going through a new erogenous zones, new ways of relating to eroticism in general that she hadn't had before. So less about the G-spot, more about finding new ways to be in your body. And VR is a great place to practice that in terms of how it might feel to be in different kinds of experiences of visual representation.
Definitely. I found some of my G-spots through VR. Some of the things I didn't know I had. Because you know what I mean? Yeah, you don't have the normal thing, so you start to get creative and you go, whoa, and here I am and on my own.
Yeah.
And it's perfect, you know?
I love
and
that.
it's just amazing. With VR, it's all in your head, isn't it? Well, not in VR only. It's about what's in your head. So when you're having so much fun and all of that, wow, you know, it's all here. We don't need.
Your brain is your biggest erotic organ. Your brain is the center of sexuality, so it's all possible here. This is your sexual organ more than it is about your genitals.
Yeah, definitely. But I had to ask the question because I'm sure that many people will be asking about that, you know. So when is surgery? Females, you know, how you call it, vagina, that people have born with vagina, right? So they've made it into a penis. How does that work? Does the penis actually goes up and down, or how does it go?
Does it get enlarged? Does it grow?
Yeah, there's a lot of different surgical procedures that are being worked out, and I would say I'm not actually an expert in that, so I don't have a lot of. Every year there's new surgical procedures that are being tried. From what my experience has been, it's more likely they're changing the tissue to elongate the clitoris, because the clitoris is actually the same shape as the penis. The clitoral organs, the bulb of a clitoris, if we can, maybe on the Twitch or afterwards we can post a picture of this. But the actual structure of a penis is the same as the structure of a clitoris. It just is a different size, and it is expanded. So the clitoris engorges the same way that a penis does, and it gets enlarged. And there's two bulbs next to the actual head of the clitoris that enlarge. And so those same structures are still there, and you're just changing the way that they are accessible and allowing them to have more space to practice elongating. And then they can add more tissue to give more of the visual of a penis.
But that would be really small, wouldn't it? Really small penis.
I don't know if...
But it's less about the penis, right?
It's
more
not
about
the
the
size
energy.
that matters. It's about how you use it.
Yeah,
And the
that's
energy
right.
of the,
Not the
energy of the
size.
person.
It's how you
Right.
use it.
Right. And them having access to pleasure. I mean, the more important thing for me is not about some of the challenges that trans folks will run into is they'll have a surgical procedure to have it look a certain way, but then they lose sensation. And there's a lot of like problems in the medical field where they're not always honoring trans care and doing it well. So you want to be really careful if you're considering an actual surgical transition to get a doctor who's really experienced, who's done a lot of them and have good references to make sure that you're not going to lose sensation. Because when you lose sensation, it gets to be a lot less pleasurable, even if you have visual organs that look more like the way you want them to look.
Yeah, because if you lose your sensation, that's just you're being castrated. That's what it is at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah, and more importantly is being aligned with
Yeah,
who
you
you
gotta
are,
be
and you can do
careful.
that. You can do that no matter what your genitals look like. You can still be who you want to be and engage with people the way you want to be, and it doesn't matter. I tend to not be in favor of my clients having surgical transitions because it tends to the technology is still a ways off from being really, really beautiful transitions where like it will meet all of your needs. Where for me, it's more important that folks have access to pleasure and belonging and connection, and a lot of that is social. It's about finding people that vibe with you, people that like you, people that relate to you in the way that you want to relate to your gender, and then it doesn't matter what your genitals are, right? Like I can be fucking you like a man regardless of what your genitals are. It doesn't matter. It's really about how I engage with your energy.
Yeah,
or vice versa. Sorry, I didn't mean to project that.
No, yeah, it's true. And yeah, in VR, I see it all the time, where you see an avatar that is mix and match, and you realize, yes, that's how we should be, like frogs. We change genitor whenever we want. But we change and we morph and we do whatever we like,
I love it.
Yeah, if you want to be one day guy,
we should be able to
be and girl, yeah.
Well, I have an intersex kitten right now, and they're so cute. In real life, I have this intersex kitten.
What do you mean by that?
Intersex? Intersex is the term for someone who has both genitals, or hermaphroditic is another word. And so I have a kitten who has both genitals.
Oh, okay, I'm familiar with that. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. I mean, that happens in the, not just with humans, it happens with animals too, so it's something that it's been happening for like in the beginning of time. So it's not wrong because it happens so much. It's nature, nature. Yeah, so when they get categorized as two genders, that's kind of a little, it's a social constraint that is actually created by the patriarchy, as they say. But I'm not going to go into politics because that's a very sort of ugly subject.
Yeah, but what we are changing because
instead,
do you remember the time when it was, okay, let's put it, Mrs., Miss, or Miss, or whatever, and it was all that pronoun was about kind of like your sexual life. Miss, you were a virgin. Mrs., you were married. And Miss, you were like
to somebody.
Yeah, and Miss, it was like,
owned by someone. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I always refuse to add that. Yeah, whenever in the bank or somewhere, I will hate it, and I will say, you know what? My name is Sexin, and I will just say that, just I'm a person and that's where I am. I don't belong to anything, and you don't need to know if I'm a virgin or not, blah, 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 blah. And now it's the same thing with are you female or male? And I refuse always to check that thing, What the hell? If you are asking for a job,
why does it matter?
Why does it matter, female or male? So yes, we'll be getting rid of those check boxes and start labeling people who we are,
Women. No, labeling women, because men are always Mr. No matter what, whether they're married, whether they're single, whether they're divorced, it's always Mr.
Not master.
So all these other labels that you're talking about is for women. Master is a child. Is when that's an upper class term for a young child that so they call them master. But in the normal sort of society, it's Mr. such and such, Mr. Whether he's married, whether he's single, whether he's divorced. Yeah. Once you're an adult, you're Mr. But when you're a girl, when you're a female, you're first a Miss, then you're a Mrs. because you belong to someone, and then Ms. is if you were divorced or you happen to be a spinster or you happen to be sex, but you don't have a husband anymore, and then it's Ms. Which is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. I agree. Should get rid of that.
Okay, I
Sam,
have
can I ask
another
you a question?
I have another question for you. Okay, so you mentioned you're a sex worker.
See.
Yeah. So with sex work, is it legal? Is not legal? Do you pay taxes? What happens with that industry? I know it's one of the oldest industries in the world, but what is it now?
Right.
How is it in maybe United
Professions.
States? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm in a more complicated and privileged position because I'm also a therapist, and I've always been doing sex work at the same time. I'm never with the same clients, always different clients, and always really clear on my boundaries, really clear on that the two wouldn't intersect. So I'm in a very privileged position. I've always seen kind of like clients that were prearranged, they were in safe meeting places. I've never done like street-based sex work. Most of the sex work in the world is street-based sex work where folks are just trying to survive. Whereas a lot of the sex work that I've done has been chosen. It's like I make online content, I've done camming, I do some full service seeing clients for sessions to do erotic exploration. I do some dom work, being like a dominatrix work. So lots of different kinds of work that I do that are all in a much more privileged position. So it's still illegal in most countries, except for New Zealand is the only state with decriminalization, or the only country, I'm sorry, with decriminalization.
In Australia.
Australia is decriminalized
Australia is legal here. Yeah,
legal-
in here
legal is-
they have to have medical, they pay taxes,
The legal is a little bit different than the decriminalized.
but it's not in
system.
the street. But if as long as you're in a proper place, like a proper process, it's legal, completely
It's
legal.
legal.
You pay taxes, you get medicals, yes,
Right.
and you're protected
and-
as a worker, yes.
Yeah, and it's definitely ideal. And then there's systems that are definitely better than others, and we're hoping for the same for the United States. I'm eager to. I do some sex work activism too, and trying to support sex workers getting more rights and more access to care, even just access to healthcare, access to basic housing, access to support needs. So it's definitely not a great situation for most sex workers still, and it's even those who are making money online, like those who do OnlyFans, other kinds of work online. Still, only the top 1% is really making bank. Most people are just hustling to survive every day, and still struggling with things like taxes, things like paying for healthcare, things like that. So it's definitely a hard industry to be in lots of ways.
Okay, I have another question. As a,
Okay,
as
go
a
ahead.
sex worker in this day and age, and we're talking about, like gender, transgender, and all of that, do you have now been asked to perform different than how it used to be? Because of this new openness of, what is it that is expected in sex?
In terms of like, do I change my gender presentation in sex? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, you have more variety. You will not only have men or women as your clients. Now you're gonna have other types. How is it? Tell us.
Sure. Every client is really different, so I think it's a really flexible and always adapting job. Part of the reasons why I love the work, it's always an opportunity to learn who this person is and as an individual that is distinct from how I might perceive them, right? So one of the keys when we talk about gender is that it's not about how someone looks, right? I could look at you and say, this is who you are. And we know that in VRC, this is very true, right? Someone's avatar is nothing about who they actually are, right? It's just what they feel like in that moment. I have a sexy Kermit the Frog avatar I wear, like sometimes. It's that the presentation is not the truth of someone, but it also can be something that's fun to play with. And so for me, it's always about asking the individual, regardless of their gender, how do you want to experience this connection? What kinds of expectations do you have? How do you want to feel at the end? What would it be like for you to feel success in this encounter? And everyone defines success differently, right? So for you, success might be, I want to have 16 orgasms. For someone else, it's, I want to feel safe. For someone else, it's, I want to learn about my new genitals that I just had that have been changing because of hormones, right? So everyone's body and experience of it is going to be different, and there is so many opportunities for how that can look.
Wow, yeah, interesting.
My question for you, Sen, was when you were first learning about VR and trying on different bodies, avatars, experiences, you said that you liked being in different genders. What was an experience you had that gave you a new insight into who you were? in VRC?
Well, I currently trying to study. I'm gonna do a PhD about avatar psychology. So I'm very, very interested about how do you see an avatar? What makes you feel like? Would you react differently when you see an avatar that is big, that is funny? Will you, make different decisions depending on the look of the avatar, right? So that's what I'm interested about.
I love that.
In my personal, like when I experience sex in VR, I'm not physical, it's funny. I'm not. I can see a cute avatar, a very masculine avatar, a sexy avatar, and it doesn't make me feel anything. And we know we are visual, but in my case, I don't know. I just don't. What drives me crazy and whoa, I go up and it's the voice. Oh my God, when guys come
like
up
that.
or girls come up to me on my ear and I go, baby, believe me, that turns me on. So even I can close my eyes and just imagine whatever, because it's my brain can picture a much better avatar, the avatar that I like, instantly, and it takes me there. But audio, I'm more audio. There you go. She's coming in.
Sorry, I clearly wanted to feel your ears. I wanted to see what they were about. I agree. Audio is really key, and voices are really key. So thank you for that.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yes,
that's
and
true. Very true.
Funny enough, one of my videos, so I made a video, an experience in VR where it was just the silhouette of a woman. She was naked, but you couldn't really define the person because the idea was to imagine the perfect girl for you. And my voice was with this 360 microphone, right? And it was in Spanish because I'm better in Spanish when I'm like, saying sexy things. But YouTube,
I want to hear this.
Could you believe it? It just brought it down. And it said, no, this is not acceptable. And it was only audio.
Oh, man.
And it was audio, sexy audio, saying, ay, papito, mi
that's the
amor. Ay, chiquito, qué rico. That's all I was saying. And YouTube
really? It was
took it
banned?
off. Yeah.
Oh, I hate the sex censoring on the internet. It's so sad.
Yeah, it's going to be too crazy. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. That sounds like a really beautiful audio.
Too much.
I want to hear this audio.
I'll send it to you, but you have to promise me that it has to be with headphones because it was like this special microphone that you really hear.
Okay, I'll do it for you.
Yeah.
Okay,
And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do more experiences, VR experiences, not just porn in VR. It was mainly for women, and I was experimenting with myself first. Okay, what turns me on, So I started doing experiences that I like. Now, I'm not everyone.
I love that.
You are different. So then you will tell me, hey, what do you want? And we'll try and make it. And then what Lily wants, and then you will make it because we're all different.
Right.
So let's say if you were going to your perfect video experience, VR experience for you sexually, what would you like to do?
And is this with avatars or with people being recorded in VR?
Yeah,
people
let's say
being recorded with a 360 camera.
Yeah, let's say that you are looking for porn for you, right? Okay. Now, how would be the best porn for you? If it was tailored to you, what you would say? I want
in
porn
VR.
Like this in VR.
Yeah. I've watched a lot of the VR porn because part of it for research because I would like to make some at some point, and I'm not a fan of most of it, so I think a lot about this. What I would really like is a more dynamic camera that I could walk around and change my positioning and look at different parts of an experience that I'm watching, but also then have them engage with me. beyond just typically a lot of the VR porn is a man with a penis and people are coming towards them and just like playing with their penis, and it's from like a point of view perspective, as if like they're doing things to my penis, which is sometimes cool because I like pretending I have a penis in real life. Like it's kind of a fun, like, oh, I'm this look at all these people pleasing me. But what I like more would be an opportunity to like see I like voyeuring at sex parties where I get to see my friends doing really hot, sexy things, and so being able to like go to a different corner and like turn to a different angle. So I would like more dynamic camera engagement and be able to maybe change it to look at different parts of a scene. And I would like a scene that was more female centric or more folks with vulvas centric. That is showing you a lot of like different ways that people are experiencing pleasure, different ways that they are maybe learning about themselves, learning about their bodies. I always want porn that's more geared towards like our real life experiences of sex, so that we help people get better at it.
Okay,
Yeah,
but in this
because
case,
I think the porn nowadays is a little bit too unrealistic, and it just gives the wrong expectations to men and women as well. Sorry, go on.
so in your case, it will be looking in the outside, not so much feeling that someone is on top of you or you are on top of someone. Is actually looking at people.
Right, and seeing them enjoy themselves and watching them like have different kinds of experiences. I've also dreamed of kind of a like porn that was choose your own adventure, so you could like, you're watching it and you could choose it, hit a button, and it might change to a different kind of scene or a different position, so you kind of have a little bit of control over what they're doing, which is pretty fun too.
Do you know this app called, I think,
sounds
Dr.
interesting.
something? Mr. Anyway, I know there's a game already on VR where you actually have an avatar and you can, but you're an outsider. You're not the avatar, not like vrchat. You actually have these two avatars where you can modify. You can make the girl pregnant actually, and then you have another one and they having sex.
What?
Yeah.
I love this. I want to try this out. Yeah.
I'll
like
send
all the
you the
things,
link.
all the games that are.
It's a game. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Anyway, that reminds me, and if Venus is watching, we did a little thing with Venus. I did a little thing with her. I don't know if she remembers, but yes, one of my fantasies also that turns me on is spying on people, right? So I told her, hey, how about if you just go and have sex in the yard, in the backyard, right? And I film you, right? Like if someone is, but you can't really see it, and blah, blah. That's one of the little projects that we had, as you know, trying to please our.
You recorded it in real life?
Yeah, in 360. Do you know what I mean? Because in 360 it's kind of like you there, right? And I was like, telling her, hide, but you have to hide. The more it's hidden, the more like we're imagining things and we're looking at it's more exciting, than to see it right there in front, Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely getting some feedback to get back into pornography, because at one point I was like kind of like, nah, I'm not gonna go into pornography again. But I don't know, just if it's for women, yes, but if we fall into
that makes
doing
sense.
pornography for guys, because that's where the money is and that's what people were always telling me, oh yeah, do this, and I said, no, it has to be something different. It has to be something in VR, something for women, something that has never been done before.
Yeah, I love that. I've always dreamed about doing AR porn, where there's like AR augmented reality pops up to give you like different tips, like, oh, here's how to manage this thing, and here's a toy you could use, and like I love the idea of like more engagement while you're watching a video.
Okay, so you've tried sex in VR, right?
Yep.
Do you use toys?
Yeah, usually I'm playing with myself at the same time when I've had sex in VR, but I'm just imagining it is this person, or if I'm doing dom. I've done a lot of the sex in VR I've done is dom sessions, where I'm like meeting someone. By the way, I'm available for dom sessions in VR, where I'll be doing something where I'm forcing them to do something to me. So I'll be having them like kneel before me and like they're eating me out, but in real life I'm using a vibrator. So a lot of it's like we're simulating the same experiences, but I might be playing with myself to kind of like still have my own physical experience that I want. Not everyone wants to do that, but I like adding physical elements too. But I really like some of the toys that are being developed in the avatar space too. I haven't played much with them, but I want to like see what it would be like to play with a digital vibrator at the same time.
Digital vibrator? What do you mean?
Like there's some, Venus and I were talking about, there's like digital whips and different kinds of sex toys. I could be spanking you or hitting you with toys in the digital space. And so the kind of illusion of like I'm also vibrating myself. When I've experienced erotic hypnosis, without needing to touch myself, I have some of the same experiences. My body will react similarly, and I wonder if that happens in VR too.
You mean like phantom touch kind of thing?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Well, it makes sense. If you've got phantom touch, yeah. I mean, some people have phantom pain, so they will definitely feel a whip or something like that. Yeah.
But currently you don't have full body tracking. That would be really hard to have sex in VR.
Right. Yeah, I'm definitely I'm moving towards the space where I need it. I tried a new mocap recently and was really excited to like maybe buy it when it's available. That's much more affordable.
Okay, Lily's gonna tell us.
Makes it easier, but it's not impossible.
She doesn't have full body tracking. Tell us, Lily.
You need to have imagination. You need to think outside the square.
Right. It is all in your mind.
It's about the willingness. You know, if you really want something, you'll figure it out. You'll find the way. You know, you get creative. You know, and sometimes that can be fun. Yeah, but yeah, definitely full body tracking makes it a little easier, for sure.
Okay, tell us some tips. Yeah. Some tips of it, because for me it's like I gave up. One time, let me tell you, Lily was our sex coach. Do you remember that time? So I said to Lily, can you give me one of those avatars that, what are they called? The ones that, you know, your hand gets stuck to the penis?
Yes.
Okay. And
I said, DPS, yes.
Yeah, can I get one of those? And me and this guy, I had my hand and he was like there and I was there. Is it hurting you? Oh my God, what's happening? And this guy is like, what? And she's our sex coach saying, no, don't do this. No, do that. No, look up. And we're like, what?
That's amazing.
It was funny. And
I gave up. It was funny.
I said to the guy,
it wasn't good for you.
I said, let's go back to just talking to each other. But give us some tips, Lily. If you don't have full body tracking, and you want to do ERP, then what? What's the best
ERP?
thing?
Well, it does help to have a mode called Gogo Loco that can get you in certain positions. So that helps a lot, you know, because if you don't, otherwise the avatar has only two positions. You know, you either stand or you sit, and that's it. And it's very, very hard. Another mode that is actually quite useful is the OVS, where you can just sort of using your controller, you can actually change your positions and adjust yourself a little bit. That kind of helps as well. You know, you to get a little bit more. It helps with being a bit more creative.
Yeah,
to get you into
I noticed already.
The right positions.
Like, she's already got it.
I was like, can I do that? I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah,
I just want to see the titties
to
now.
Actually download it.
I'm just here for that usually. Yeah, thank you for that. I don't think mine bounce a little bit, but it's hard to do though.
Yes, they do quite a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
Thank
you. But so that's one thing. Yeah, you download the OVS from Steam, and basically you need to program it to your controllers, so that way you press the button,
gotcha.
and then you're able to kind of adjust yourself and things like that. But then there's another one which is the Gogo Loco, and that one is part of your avatar, and that's like the one I'm using right now to sit myself in this position. And see, sexing is using the same, but because you don't have Gogo Loco on your avatar, you having to use the room.
Oh, this one does actually.
This couch has settings. It does. There you go. I thought
does.
it might.
I just checked. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can.
So it gets you into positions, cross-legged, all kinds, lying down. Yes. Some of them can be quite naughty.
Okay,
kind
give us.
of, yeah.
Come on, give us a position. Lily, come on. Give us a position in the couch.
All right.
Okay, behind. I'll spank you.
All right. Oh, you're gonna spank me? We were talking about that last week. The spanking
Yes,
thing.
spanking.
Let me see which one is the one.
Oh. We've got the dragon
I'm trying to
girl.
see what my Gogo Loco can do too.
Okay, there's
Not
this
sure why
one
I'm
here.
doing-
Okay, let's spank this girl. Let's spank this naughty
You
girl.
see, now you can
Oh.
spank me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Spank me, mama. Spank me.
Sorry.
Oh my god, this
Oh, I
fur
wanna
in
pull
my
your hair.
nose.
Can I pull your hair?
This tail on my nose is making me itchy. Oh my god. There you go.
Pull your hair.
so as
Can I
you
pull
can
your
see-
hair?
Or you can use this one here. And
can kinda
there's
do like a
more.
little-
There's more you can. There's more positions that you can actually add to your avatar.
I like this. Thank you. Yes, I guess my
And
avatar
all
does have it, but it's not
animations.
I don't think I'm changing it all. I keep I'm hitting the buttons, but it's not changing it. So I'll play around with it more though. There's sometimes I know some of the avatars I notice I
Yeah.
can lay down and squat and things. Yeah.
Yeah, this is called Gogo Loco, and it's got different sort of animations. But you can also, if you're very good at Unity, you can add extra animations to your avatar as well, with certain positions that are a little bit more sexual. And some of the newer avatars, they have this really, really interesting position where you're sort of standing with your bum up in the air, your legs are open, and you're on your elbows, like leaning on the floor on your elbows. So you can imagine. It's called something
that.
jack. Yeah, it's
Oh, yeah, I've
an
seen that.
interesting position. Yeah. So, but that one you have to actually add it yourself. You can need to sort of purchase the animation and then add it to the avatar So you need to be very, very, very good at Unity to be able to do that. Edit your avatar that way. But the present Gogo Loco, it's pretty good. You just need, like I said, you need to be creative. You need to get very familiar on locking the avatar into position, and it takes time. That's the thing. You need to be very patient, and you need to practice in advance to say, okay, how does my avatar work? So that's why I tend to use certain avatar. I don't just go with any avatar out there. I get very, very attached to some of my avatars because I get to know them really, really well, and because they mean I like to edit them to suit me, to my own personality. So, and then you get to know how they move. Yeah, and usually when I first started, playing vrchat and getting onto these avatars, it was more about how they dance, because I do like to dance, and that was my thing. I would go to the live DJ raves and dance with a whole bunch of people. So some avatars move better than others, unless you have full body tracking. Some of them are very stiff and they just don't move really well. But some of them, even if you just have a quest, they move really, really well. This is one of them. My main avatar is another one. So that's the reason I kind of sort of fell in love with the avatar. But then I noticed Gogo Loco was another feature that helps you get into a pretty position, sitting down, and then I sort of started playing, with the ERP business. Yeah, some of those positions were kind of useful. So yeah. Don't give up. Don't give up.
Okay,
Be patient.
talking about falling in love with an avatar, I'm also very interested about that, like So what do you think it will happen? Like let's say you're having a relationship with someone, because is it the avatar? Is it the person? Is it what do you think?
Right. I think that technology is a tool and our avatars are an extension of us. And we choose how we use our tools. We choose how we use our clothes. We choose how we use all the tools in our life. And it is still you. It is an extension of you. And so falling in love with a person in an avatar specifically, if you don't love that person when they're not in that avatar, maybe it's some skill development for you around relationship skills, that like this experience of this person is more than this current iteration. But also it may just be that like your experience with them is going to be more contextually limited, right? Like I only want to engage with you when you're a dragon. Is different than, I love you as a person, right? It's like I want to play with you when you're a dragon, and I'm not seeking a deeper connection, versus like, oh, I really love your beautiful dragon eyes and they're an extension of who you are in your soul, and I want to know your soul. Different experiences of the same thing.
And how about us falling in love with our avatars, which are okay, yes, it's an extension of ourselves, but what happens if this avatar all of a sudden gets deleted? How we're gonna feel? I mean, we're in love with us.
That happened to me with 2 avatars, and I'm still hurt about one of them in particular. Definitely.
Right.
Yeah, it was the one that I would use all the time, but it was a public avatar. But unfortunately, the one that I got was an edited copy of the original public one. So when the creator found out that there was another copy going out there that was actually not her avatar, it got deleted, and I lost her, and I cried. I actually literally cried tears, and I looked and looked and looked for her, but I've got the original now, but I can't get the files to edit her because she's a public avatar, so I can't get the actual avatar, so I can't make her the way she was when I first got her. And I mean, but she still has a very special spot on my heart. But there was another one that I also lost, a little army girl that I used to go exploring with. Oh, that was another one that I lost, and I haven't been able to find her at all. So yeah, definitely, you can fall in love with your avatar.
Yeah, and I think it's like, it's always a grief process, right? When a part of ourselves has to change or die, it's a part of ourselves that we're losing then if we don't get access to it. So it's like, how do we move through, like naming the grief, naming that it's like a part of us, but that we get to rebuild and reclaim those parts too. And so sometimes I think about like, what did that avatar represent to you? And I like what you just said, Lily, that like you had one that you like to explore with and one that was good at dancing, and like you can always identify like, what did this represent to me, and how do I want to recreate that in my future experiences? And then you can build new things around that idea, not needing that specific avatar to be the only outlet for that expression.
That's definitely, and every avatar that I have, they all feel the purpose. There's another one that I have that when I'm tired and I need to sleep in VR, that's the avatar I tend to put on, because she purrs like a cat, and that relaxes me so much. And she's so cute, and so like her face is so sleepy. And as soon as I put her on, it's like, oh, I want to get cozy, and I just want to snuggle up with somebody, a cuddle buddy, and then just go to sleep. Just go to sleep. And yeah, they're all the different things. But one thing I have learned, I don't get attached to public avatars anymore. I might collect them and say this is beautiful and appreciate the work, because as a designer, I understand how much work goes into it. But I don't get attached to public ones because I know they can just disappear. So I do tend to now buy the avatars that I like. And that way, there's no chance I'm going to lose them, because I can't go through that again. It broke my heart.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And how about having that same avatar? You go somewhere and you dressed up in this avatar, like going to a party with the same outfit, How is this going to be, You can't go there because she's wearing the same avatar, and all of a sudden, that's me over there. What's happening?
That is hard.
Well, that's why you tend. That's why when you buy the avatar, you get the files from the creator, and you are allowed to make changes to it, within reason. And that's what my main avatar. If you see the original, it looks completely different. And I did wear the original for a little while, once when I purchased her, and before I knew how to use Unity, I used it as it was. But eventually, as I learned Unity, I started making some changes, and I edit her to make it my own, the colors that I like. It becomes very personalized. So I haven't found anybody that has the same avatar that I do, because they have a different version of it. There was one time when I actually found one person with the original avatar. She was wearing it, and I don't see that many people with that avatar in particular. Not this one. It's the other one I wear all the time. And when I saw it, it was like, oh yes, you're one of mine. You love the avatars from Cupcake, and me too. And it was like, it's like a fan base. It's like you bat for the same team kind of thing. You're wearing a fan
Gucci.
of you're a groupie.
You're wearing a Gucci
Exactly.
bag.
Kind of. Oh, you're wearing a Cupcake. You're wearing a Roxy. And so you become, you find people that like this, and later on, she was like, "Oh, you like a Cupcake avatar? So me too. Look, I've got this one," and she got another one that from the same creator. And I was like, "Yes, I got that one too." And I put mine on, and then I was like, "Oh, look, I actually got this one too." Because from that creator, I do actually have a couple of those avatars. I do like her work.
It's interesting how VR has created different jobs, isn't it? Like even within vrchat, which is the creation of avatars, the creation of worlds, and your profession as well. I mean, you will be making sessions, isn't it? Private sessions, and you will making a business out of this platform, isn't it? With your expertise and everything, you'll be giving out. Was it therapies, or how's it gonna work? In your case?
Yeah, I'm not doing licensed therapy in this space because there's difficulty with confidentiality and difficulty with some of the different factors. I mean, there's certainly folks who are doing VR therapy. That's not currently my modality, but I am doing like erotic exploration sessions in VR, and that can look a lot of different ways and can certainly have therapeutic components to it. But yeah, it is a new business. It's something that I'm excited to be building and creating. A lot of clients have a hard time coming into a session and finding the right provider, finding someone who vibes with them in all the areas they want to talk about, and finding and feeling safe in their bodies to show up. Many people can't come in person and say, "Hey, I feel bad about my penis," or "Hey, I'm scared about this thing that happened to me when I was a kid." But they could come in VR in any kind of avatar they want and feel really strong and powerful and get to say what they need to say. And then my dream is, having worlds that I can customize and and avatars to easily adapt to create for a person. Like, oh, you want to heal a mommy wound, an issue with your mother. I can embody that image and a space similar to it, and we can move through, you feeling safe again, you feeling like your body is important, that your pleasure is important, that whatever harm came to you doesn't have to be your forever story, and you get to reclaim your ownership around that experience, be it then eroticizing a different kind of power dynamic with that mother. There's a million ways it can look, which I really love about this opportunity, things that I could never do in real life with somebody. I can't do a tentacle scene, for example, in the same way that I could here. I can't do I can't be in a world where we're flying and floating while we're playing. Like, there's so many other strategies that we get to use this space for to create new levels of eroticism, and I'm excited to find out more of the tools and do it better.
And the other notice with VR is that it's forever young. We are forever young. I mean, with the sex industry, it does have a kind of like expiry date. And with VR, it doesn't.
Not so much so, because I have actually seen recently quite a few avatars, especially some of the male avatars. They have beard, and some of them even have the white hair and the white beard, meaning they are like older man. They're trying to look older. So even if he's a 20-year-old and says, "You know what, I want to look like a 50-year-old," and they can do that here, and they can see what that feels like, how they get treated. Or, a 50-year-old can look again like a 20-year-old if they want to. I love that. The fact that gender, age, it just has no relevance in VR. That it just it's about the energy. It's about who you really are inside. It's your personality. It's not about where you are in life or how old you've lived or what your gender is. It's really
that's
good.
what I'm saying. That here there's no expiry date, because in the real world, our bodies will be not suitable for certain things, sports.
They'll be changing and growing.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So here in VR, yes, we do morph and we live forever and ever. I can't wait until my brain comes out of my physical body and just goes into VR.
Me too.
That's it.
Oh yeah, I've always said that. If they said there's overpopulation and that we need volunteers for people to just come and live in VR, I would be like, yes, please, me. I'm happy to move in here. I don't care about the real world anymore. This
how
would
long
be a
have
good
you
place
been in VR?
to wake up every day.
How did you come across VR?
Yeah. So I've had access on and off for the last about 5 years. So I had some really early headset access with a friend that I just learned it in. I didn't own one. And then I would occasionally use those really cheap little cardboard ones, just trying to understand some of the features of the 360, the Google 360. And then I finally got a Quest 2 years ago. And I was able to do a lot more experimenting and learning and playing. And this year I've really transitioned to being in VR on a regular basis and spending a lot more time and learning. And I started working with RD Land as well as with Venus to try to put on some sexuality events and learn more about sex in VR in terms of community building and creating spaces for sex workers and spaces for community events and things like that. So it's been I'm still a newbie in many ways, but I'm really eager to continue more.
So tell us about your events then. Do you have on the stream it doesn't show your name, and I don't
details.
have the details in a JPEG. So tell us about it.
Yeah. So as of right now, so you can find me, Gada Soleil, at Cyborg Dreams, CYBORG DREAMZ, on all social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Cyborg Dreams, and then I need to make a Twitch account, so I need to work on that. But the events I'm doing currently are through venussx. So Venus's account and Venus's links are the best, actually. Venus is really a beautiful facilitator, and I really love the work that she's doing in VR, and I'm really grateful to have the opportunity to learn from her and to participate with her. And we're doing these really amazing events where you can come, anybody over 18 can come and drop in and can watch erotic roleplay, can engage in erotic roleplay, can ask questions, can make friends. And we really center consent, we center boundaries, we center safety and well-being for everyone involved. And we're moving towards more adult NSFW events where we'll have more actual simulated experiences for those who contribute to the organization, and really creating an opportunity to have a sex community in VR, that's really built around really grounded and safe principles, which is what I really value a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
It's very good.
This is the place, because I think VR Altspace, where Venus started, was very strict. Very strict, and I think vrchat is a little bit more open to not safe for what? That amazes me. Not safe for work.
Not safe for work.
Come on, not safe for work is going up the ladder. That is not safe for work.
Right.
Sex.
Right.
It's the contrary. You have to have sex before you come to work. Come on. What do you mean it's not safe for work?
Yeah. You're better at work if you're having sex a lot, because your brain is better for work when you're having sex a lot.
Yeah, that is so stupid. Not safe for work. Not safe for you to see porn while your boss is looking, because you might get fired. Maybe, not safe because if you're watching porn, then you're spending time not working. Maybe, but
Yeah, it's about productivity. It's not about sex, though. That's about productivity.
Yeah. So now I think that vrchat. Have you tried any other platforms like Spatial and Engage?
Not yet. So I'm really, I've been playing around a little bit in Horizon World just because there's some easy world building things in there, but no other platforms otherwise right now.
We don't get that in Australia. Not yet.
Yeah.
Would you think
But I love
that
VRChat, and I'm so
VRChat
glad to be here in this with you all.
in VRChat, because of the avatars, will be a little bit easier to do these, you know, gender, you know, like thing because of the avatars?
I think so too.
Well, chill
Yeah.
Chill VR is very similar as well. It's a very, very new world. It's similar to VRChat. And the avatars can be quite similar too. You know, in fact, because I did actually sort of explore Chill VR
Chill.
a couple of times. Chill VR, yeah. And the worlds are very, very similar. Some of them, they have like the sleep world. The one, I can't remember what it's called in here. They have the black cat, you know, it's called something else over there, but if you go in, it's like the same. It's probably the same creator, just took it over there and yeah, but it's not as populated. There's not as many players, and most of them,
Right.
they tend to be Americans. So it's not, it hasn't taken off like VRChat has yet. But it's got a lot of good features. You know, you can fly everywhere, which is really, really nice.
I
Not
love
just in
that.
certain worlds, it's like everywhere. I love to fly. Yeah, so that's a really nice feature. The menu is very big when you open it to do all kinds of things. So, but yeah, it's just a different format. Well, this has been very, very interesting. It's been absolutely wonderful having you, Soleil. I really, really
Thank you so much.
have enjoyed our chat. I think Cynthia was very interesting because I haven't heard her speak in a long time this much. So
thanks,
she
Cindy.
obviously enjoyed that too as well. Yeah, definitely.
Thanks for
We'd love
having
to
me.
have
I'm
you
so grateful to
again
be
one
here.
in the future.
Yeah, feel
Definitely,
free. I'd love to be
definitely.
here.
We have to do it again. Mhm.
And we should
For
do one
sure.
in Spanish too.
Excellent. Oh yes, if you're open for that.
Help me with my Spanish, and we could do
16
it.
loves to do streaming in Spanish more than in English. So
Bien, bien.
yeah, she'll probably take you on that. What do you think about that? See?
Yeah. I started VR because getting back into Latin America, you know, with my Latin community and everything, I feel so over there,
it.
you know, because, you know, it's so
Yeah.
immersive. So my whole community is Latin
that.
America. I'm just slowly trying to get, you know, with Venice and Lily into the English.
Yeah,
But mainly it's in Spanish. everything.
I love that. So yeah, my Spanish is getting very much better every day that I live in Mexico. So it will be really good in a few months. So I can do a really good Spanish talk with you.
Excellent.
Can I ask you?
Thanks for
That
having
sounds
me.
really
I'm
good.
Grateful. Yeah. Sí, claro.
Sí, claro. So why are you in Mexico?
Pero es mejor. Como los de Estados Unidos.
Oh, that's
It's-
true.
It's the United States is a really difficult place to live right now, and in general it is because a lot of America is there's some like fascist elements to it. It's pretty unsafe. It's pretty scary. There's a lot of like parts of America that are moving more towards corporate capitalist consumerism, where like if you're not working for corporations and consuming within them and buying within them and living this very strict kind of like structured life of consuming, get a house and get a car and live in this place and work 50 hours a week and maybe not even have enough to pay your bills. If you're not doing that, like you can't survive. There's not really space for folks like me who are more anarchistic, who are more, I like a lot of art and creativity and play and community. And I want to eat meals with someone every day. I want to cook for people every day. I want to be in connection. And it's really hard to find that in America. And I found that in Mexico, and I like have these amazing loves here that I feel really connected to very quickly. And the weather is better, the food is amazing. There's just a culture of being in community still, which I really love.
But you're in Mexico City, or
I agree with that.
No, I'm in Puerto Vallarta.
Puerto Vallarta? Yeah. It's
Oh, that's
cool.
beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's gorgeous.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
lived there
yeah,
for
it's
about
really
2
nice.
years. Yeah.
Ah, me encanta.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but let me tell you,
Yeah.
I thought I thought that maybe you were in I picture you in Mexico, in Polanco, in this penthouse, right? Having all these business guys coming up to you because you offer a service and because that's what I picture you.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, no, I live in like you can hear the music. I live in like a very like rustic building with like water on the floor and no roof, and like, but it's near the beach and it's beautiful, and I have loves here, and it's and I have like a cat that's a baby kitten that is beautiful, and yeah, no, it's I love everything about it, even though it's I'm not really a bougie bitch except for my shoes.
Yeah, that's what we
shoes.
imagine.
Yes, that's serious business.
Yeah, no, only shoes. I had a little bit more of a bougie life, and I was living in San Francisco before this, so I had more like I was going to a lot of like,
that's pretty.
tech events and clubs and parties and things. But yeah, I would rather live in community and live affordably.
Yeah.
Yes, that's for sure.
That's the thing in VR. Whenever you
Excellent.
want to come to this apartment with a piano, or if you want to go to Hong Kong, or if you want to go to Las Vegas, you can always
I've got
do
a
it in
jet. I've got a
VR.
private jet.
You got
I've got a private jet in VRChat.
God.
I've got a penthouse. I've got yes, you're right. A house that has the view of Las Vegas. I've got a yacht as well for parties. It's got private rooms. Yes, that's what I love VR, especially VRChat. Yeah.
I'm trying to get more of my folks here that
Excellent.
you use VR. I wish that there was more. I want more VR in Mexico, so I'm eager for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Yeah, it's going to take a bit of time.
or you like it or you hate it for now. VR is like that. The people that like it love it. The people that can't get into it, they cannot go back. As much as I try, come on, put it on, you've got it there.
Right.
They just don't.
Right.
But eventually, I reckon about 5 years, now with the Pico coming up and the Apple
Yeah,
Vision.
the headsets are getting so much better. Right.
Yes,
So much better.
definitely it's going to be out there, and people are going to be willing to say, okay, so we better adapt to this technology because it's here,
Totally.
Yeah.
Yep. And the best experiences they could have are going to be in immersive places, so we have to get used to it.
That's
Yes.
right. Mhm.
And we are the pioneers.
Yes. Definitely got a future. We are the
And thanks for letting me join your
We're like
pioneership.
Christopher Columbus.
But the non-colonizing
I mean, you
version of
too.
it.
I mean, the fact that you're in VR, you are a pioneer too. The fact that you're using VR, I think that's what you mean, isn't it? Not necessarily this podcast. The fact that you are one of the first
Yes,
people that
we
are
are.
using VR as well, you're involved with us. All of us are pioneers on
Yes.
Yeah.
VR scene, and we're promoting it. We're trying to, bring people into the benefits of it, because there are benefits.
Right,
It's not just
totally.
about games. There are benefits
Exactly.
on
Yeah, it's
VR
much bigger
in
than
many
games.
levels. That's for sure. Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to
Excellent.
share this podcast. I'm going to
Oh,
share
well.
this stream too with my friends. So I'm excited to share it with people and get more people to engage.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Well, thanks for that. So, thank you everybody for watching. Soleil, thank you very much for coming and chatting with us. Sexy, as usual. Very interesting. I love your vibe. It's so good. Yes. Okay. Thanks everybody for watching, and
Bye,
see you
friends.
next time. Bye. Bye.